Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Monday evening, February 26, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you will be notified every time I post a brand new video. Leave a comment down below letting me know what that's been like in your year recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of in your specific area. Alright, so let's just take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can see that the Atlantic is being dominated by ridges of high pressure. One right here, the high pressure dome right there off the east coast of the United States. And we can also see another high pressure dome right there to the northwest of Africa. That's responsible for sending all of those easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And some of these winds are carrying some amount of sour and dust as well. You can also see that blue spike line right there associated with a cold front stretching all the way from northern sections of North Atlantic all the way down to the north of the Caribbean, right there situated across portions of eastern Cuba, Turks and Caicos, and northern Hispaniola, Haiti, and Dominican Republic. We can also see some broken orange lines right here, one across portions of eastern Cuba, Jamaica, reaching all the way down into portions of the southwestern Caribbean, and another trough right here across portions of the northeastern Caribbean. And we can actually see the clouds even better, and well, the troughs even better, represented on the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down. Lots of clouds, lots of activity actually taking place in the lower levels in terms of some amount of clouds that are bringing us some isolated shores sections of the region. You can see the clouds of the trough reaching all the way from Jamaica, stretching down into portions of the southwestern Caribbean, affecting portions of Nicaragua, Honduras with some amount of clouds and overcast skies. Not to mention the clouds associated with that cold front, affecting portions of eastern Cuba, northern Haiti and Dominican Republic, as well as the trough across portions of the northeastern Caribbean, affecting portions of the US and British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and other leeward islands. We'll be talking more about the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on what happened across Jamaica today according to the prediction that was made in yesterday's video. So it was stated that sections of northern Jamaica would receive some morning rainfall, and then sections of some southern parishes would get in on the rainfall during the afternoon. And for your information, northern Jamaica we're talking about Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover. Southern Jamaica we're talking about Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. And what ended up happening? As early as 5:30 a.m., the Cuban Doppler radar images were posted, and they were showing some amount of light to moderate rainfall as represented by the greens, affecting sections of some northern parishes in Jamaica. Some northern parishes in Jamaica definitely picked up some morning rainfall, and then during the afternoon, the visible satellite images were posted, showing a buildup of clouds, causing rainfall to sections of some southern parishes as well. As a matter of fact, just like in yesterday's video, it was actually eastern, central, and western parishes that were getting in on the action. Not everywhere, but some places did pick up on some amount of rainfall, and some of that rainfall was heavy in some spots, and that's quite interesting for the month of February. We know February is the peak of our dry season, and we have some of our followers on our Twitter page, Instagram, TikTok page confirming the rainfall. We have Joe Mar stating heavy rain fell a short while ago in northern Clarendon. Even on our Facebook page, we had Rose Butler raining in Mandeville. And even on our Instagram page, we had Roxy J76 just got some heavy showers in Trelawney. Mency Davis stating rain just falls and we're now having drizzle. Even Sanzi Sart stating light rain. And we can see the visible satellite images right here excuse me, of Jamaica before the sun went down. We even saw some high cold cloud tops being blown off towards the southeast that are indicative of some cumulonimbus clouds. And we can see it all even better on the infrared satellite images. It's a long time since we've shown that. Considering that it's the dry season, we don't normally have the cumulonimbus clouds bringing thunderstorm activity, but that's exactly what we saw today. Some high cold cloud tops, all courtesy of this trough. High cold cloud tops being blown off to the southeast by that wind shear. Not to mention the sparkling white dots that indicate some amount of lightning flashes, if not lightning strike. So we definitely had some isolated thunder shower activity across sections of Jamaica today, mainly across the west and the central portions of the island. And if we take a look at the latest Cuban Doppler radar images, the greens that represent light to moderate rainfall, the yellows represent heavy rainfall. And we can see that rainfall right there off the coast of St. Elizabeth associated with that cloud cover that we just saw in the satellite images. Definitely getting in on some bad weather across the waters to the south of Manchester and St. Elizabeth as we speak. Definitely was a wet afternoon across those areas today. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, and as usual, these temperatures should be getting lower as the night progresses. 23 degrees Celsius is what's being expected at 3 a.m. on Tuesday for Montego Bay, 22 degrees Celsius for Kingston at the same time. And we know that these temperature forecast maps aren't 100% accurate, so it could vary in some areas. As it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18th on Tuesday. When we calculate that, that's 1 p.m. on Tuesday. And we do see Jamaica embedded in a mixture of grays, if not yellows, that represent average to at least 1 degree Celsius above average temperatures. I know the average temperatures for the month of February across Jamaica are about 86.4 degrees Fahrenheit. When we take a look at the thermometer, 86.4 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 30 degrees Celsius. So we should be getting anywhere from 30 to 31 degrees Celsius at most. As it relates to the dry air map, we still see a lot of dry air across the Atlantic basin, stretching all the way from Africa into the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico, as represented by those yellows, oranges, and reds. And we see a lot of dry air across the Gulf of Mexico, as indicated by those reds, not to mention the northeastern Atlantic Ocean. As it relates to the Saharan dust forecast, this map is showing 2 p.m. on Tuesday, and we do see the browns that represent the Saharan dust, and we do see a lot of Saharan dust plaguing the waters of the southern Caribbean, the eastern Caribbean, sections of northern South America, not to mention right there off the coast of Africa. They're definitely getting in on those strong or the vigorous plume. We know the darker shades of brown is where we have the most intense plume of dust, where we have those excuse me, hazy skies, not to mention those maybe some persons having their asthma or sinusitis, issues being triggered. So gladly Jamaica, which should be right here under the word port, that stands for Port-au-Prince, the capital of Haiti, Jamaica is going to be in the clear for 2 p.m. on Tuesday. As it relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, we see more in the way of light blues to a slightly darker shade of blue that's surrounding the island for Tuesday from both the Euro and the GFS. And all of that is representative of 0.5 of a meter to 1 meter wave height, so it's definitely a good day to go to the beach or to go fishing for those fishers or marine interests out there. And that's because the winds are not going to be that strong at all. We can see the winds coming in from the east northeast for the most part for tomorrow from the Euro and the GFS, averaging anywhere from let's say 10 to 15 knots. And we do see that all of the air is definitely going to be piling up once again across sections of some central and western parishes, some south central and southwestern parishes, that is. So there's a chance that we could get in on some more isolated showers on the north coast coming in from the east northeast or the northeast to affect sections of some northern parishes. Then during the afternoon we might have a buildup of clouds, bringing some isolated showers to sections of some spots. Again, it won't be as intense as what we had today, maybe a little bit less, who knows, maybe more clouds than rainfall on Tuesday afternoon. We see the upper level winds still coming in from the west northwest or the northwest, just like what we saw today with these high cold cloud tops being blown off towards the south and the east. So that afternoon rainfall will definitely be favoring more of the southern parishes in Jamaica. And we know our southern parishes. We're talking about St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, and Westmoreland. And this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS confirms the rainfall for the morning hours. We can see that these maps are showing 4 a.m. on Tuesday. We do see the blues that represent rainfall across sections of some northern parishes, on the Euro as well as on the GFS, so we're definitely in for some early morning rainfall. Even at 10 a.m., we still see much of the same. Some blues that represent rainfall across maybe sections of St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, the same spots that we saw at 4 a.m. Then, excuse me, look at the afternoon now. This is 4 p.m. on Tuesday. Start to see more of those blues that represent rainfall across sections of some especially southern parishes. So it's definitely eastern, central, and western parishes. But we have those darker shades of blues across southern Jamaica. So maybe Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon getting in on the action. GFS is showing those blues, but it's not as robust as what we saw on the Euro. Either way, we see some light shades of blues, especially on the south coast. So we might get some amount of afternoon isolated shower, if not a lot of overcast skies. And both the Euro and the GFS are in consensus that we're going to be receiving some amount of rainfall within the next 24 hours across Jamaica. Both of these maps are showing the rainfall totals from now up until 10 p.m. on Tuesday. We do see the Euro is a bit more robust with the rainfall totals, showing some darker greens and yellows in there that represent up to 0.22 off an inch of rainfall. GFS not so robust, showing most of the rainfall across northeastern Jamaica, Portland, only up to 0.17 off an inch of rainfall. Either way, we're gonna be receiving rainfall. We're in the month of February, is the driest month of the year traditionally, and we're actually getting some amount of rainfall, so we're indeed grateful for that before we actually get into our wet season in May. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we do see those low-level patches of clouds associated with the numerous troughs, as well as the cold fronts, bringing a lot of overcast skies and isolated showers to sections of the region, sections of Cuba, eastern Cuba, that is, southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, northern Haiti and Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, sections of Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Martin, maybe sections of Antigua and Barbuda getting in on the action, not to mention sections of the Windward Islands with some low-level patches of clouds moving from east to west as well. You can also see that cloud cover that represents rainfall across sections of Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean to confirm what we just saw on the satellite images, we can see that rainfall definitely affecting sections of Puerto Rico, represented by those greens, yellows, even some reds in there that represent light, moderate to even heavy rainfall in some spots. The British Virgin Islands definitely getting in on some amount of rainfall right now, if not later on tonight. We can also see that rainfall band to the south of the US Virgin Islands, some rainfall right there to the east of Antigua and Barbuda, some rainfall right there to the south of St. Kitts. There's rainfall all over, but it's not as widespread. A lot of hit or miss showers taking shape across the region. As relates to the Barbados radar, we can see that rainfall coming in from the east, northeast. Not so much across Barbados right now, but maybe some late night isolated showers spilling into the morning. And also see that rainfall heading into the Grenadine Islands right now, maybe some heavy rainfall within that. You can also see that rainfall band affecting sections of Tobago, passing to the northwest of the island right now. And if we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see that we don't have much taking place across majority of the region. The Belize radar clear, some isolated shores across the waters to the east of Nicaragua, not much on the Florida radars right now. ABC Islands radar maybe showing some amount of isolated showers to the north of those islands right now, but we don't see much taking place across the northern South American radars. As relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we do see more in the way of grays that represent average temperatures being in the forecast for 1 p.m. on Tuesday. Maybe some slight yellows that represent at least 1 degree Celsius above normal temperatures for the northern and northeastern Caribbean islands. Gulf of Mexico and the United States definitely getting a tremendous heat up with those way above normal temperatures. You can see some below normal temperatures right there, affecting sections of Florida, the Bahamas, and sections of Cuba. As it relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Tuesday, we do see those browns that represent the Saharan dust to affect sections of the eastern Caribbean, the southern Caribbean, sections of northern South America. But we're indeed grateful that we don't have that vigorous plume of dust as represented by those darker shades of browns that we're seeing closer to Africa for 2 p.m. on Tuesday. Excuse me. As it relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, we do see that majority of the Caribbean should be getting in on those lighter shades of blues, if not darker shades of blues. They represent anywhere from 0.5 for meter to at least 1.5 meter wave height. And that's because the winds are not going to be that strong at all. Coming in from the east or the east northeast for majority of the Caribbean, averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 to even 15 knots, maybe gusting to 20 knots. Maybe where we see those yellows, maybe gusting even close to 25 knots right there across the southern Bahamas, the waters to the north of Haiti and Dominican Republic, the waters to the north of Panama and Colombia right there. As it relates to the rainfall totals, these maps from the year and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Tuesday. And we do see that we definitely have a lot of rainfall in store. Still to come for sections of northeastern Dominican Republic, sections of Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands. We see some reds in there that get up to 1 inch or more of rainfall, so maybe some isolated flash flooding could take place. Sections of eastern Cuba, southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos will get in on the action. Not to mention sections of the eastern Caribbean, maybe sections of Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, maybe spilling into sections of Barbados that we just saw a while ago. Not much in the forecast for northeastern South America, but we do see southern Venezuela, Colombia getting in on the action, sections of northwestern Panama as usual, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, eastern Honduras. And we know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.